Okay, in this lesson, what we're going to do is take a look at getting some timer and user input functionality in place inside of our new Evil Monkeys game.
That's right.
I mean, right now, all we're able to do is render out a single frame.
That's not very interactive.
No, not at all. So by the end of this lesson, what I would like to see is our little monsters running around, chasing us down, us with the capability of using the keyboard to manipulate our character and fire fireballs back at our evil monkeys. And because of we've basically brought in all of our old code, I'd like to see all that old code work now.
Yep.
So this is where basically we didn't waste our time on VTM number 3 designing the game engine itself.
Right.
So with that, we're going to be using WX widgets to pull this off.
That's right. As we were talking about in the last VTM, it's very cool that WX widgets doesn't just provide GUI stuff to do. It also provides things like a WX timer,
Ooh, a timer.
which is very cool because we can set a delay, say 20 milliseconds, and between at those intervals, it will call a function that we set.
Basically capture an event that we can have tied in with a function. That's really nice.
Yeah, very, very cool.
And just to throw this out there for the heck of it, I mean, we could do more than just timer stuff, too.
Right, there's string manipulation.
And sound.
And sound manipulation. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff
There's a lot of
do.
different things out there. So anyways, let's go ahead and get busy.
So, of course, when we're using an event, we're going to have an ID. So let's go ahead and add a ID timer. Yeah. So we have our timer. Now let's go down and actually create our timer. And let me not press enter there. So let's come down to here and let's create our WX timer. And as I've already said, we know that we're going to be calling a function, right?
So we need to go ahead and
declare our function, prototype it. So let's come into here and create a void on timer. And it's a timer event, so we'll just say timer event, as we've done before. So that's all we need to do in the event, in the header. So let's go into here.
It's as simple as setting up a regular WX widget control.
Exactly. And so what we're going to do is come down to the near very bottom, so right up to here. And the first thing we're going to do is actually declare our timer, create an instance of a WX timer. So WX timer equals new WX timer, and the parent is going to be this, and we're going to set the ID to ID timer as we declared a second ago. Now, to get it actually rolling, all we need to do is say m_timer, and we'll pass it start. And what we're going to do, we pass it a number, like in milliseconds, between delays. So when is the function going to get called? Every 20 milliseconds, every 30 milliseconds, etc.
How often does the event occur?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have update_time, which is a
something we're about to make.
So let's go up to here.
Define it.
And define a update time. Yes, I know, I'm very fast. And set it to 50 milliseconds. Will work great. And so we got that set up. Now let's go ahead and create the function that actually handles this. So we'll create a void app frame on timer, as we did before. As we declared a second ago. And WX timer event. Now, what are we going to be needing to do in this function? Well,
we need to update our level.
All we need to do is update our level. So, not capital L. Level, update. And for those of you that remember from the previous VTM, the update function inside a level simply updates the level and keeps it going. So it has no arguments, so simply level update. And we do exactly the same thing we did in onPaint event. We need to draw the bitmap, the back buffer, onto it. So what we're going to do is create a client DC. And you may remember from what I said before, we cannot use a WX Paint DC. We have to use a client DC when it's outside an onPaint event handler. And we want to pass it our game window. And area.draw bitmap, just as we did above. And we pass it our back buffer. And we want to draw it in the top left, so 0, 0. Done. So at this point, let's go ahead and compile this. And hopefully we should see the monsters attack us. And
of course, we can't move around.
We can't move around, so we'd be pretty much... Okay, so that doesn't work exactly right, so no worries. What we're going to do is, let's go up to here, make sure that we didn't make any typos or I didn't do anything absolutely stupid. Let's come up to here. Oh, well, do we ever say...
It wouldn't hurt to add the event to the event table.
That would seem to be a good thing.
A useful thing to do.
Right, so let me
basically, let's just go ahead and put in an EVT_timer.
Right, and of course our ID is going to be timer.
That's right.
It's going to say, I don't remember doing
our app
anything
frame
wrong.
on timer.
And that's it.
Yay! Now it should work.
Now it should work. If it doesn't work, I'll just blame you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But it will work. See?
See?
Your guy's already dead.
Yeah, I'm toast. So that works. So let's go ahead and exit that. Now, one other thing that I would like to do is add keyboard event handling, because that's kind of a cool thing to have. And the focus of the keyboard is going to be by default on the game window. So we're going to connect to the game windows on key event. So connect -1 -1, and this is going to be a, let me see here,
it's a WX EVT underscore key underscore down.
Key underscore down, and we're going to just press enter here and WX object event. You know, I should be really in shape with all the typing I do. It doesn't work that way though. Yeah. So on timer.
We're gonna do it on timer or on key here.
Oh, on key, my bad. Which doesn't exist yet, by the way.
That's right.
And it's going to call this is on key event.
So let's go ahead and get on key set up over in the header.
Yep. So let's come over to here and let's just set up a void on key, and this is going to be a WX key event. And let's just copy this function because I'm starting to get lazy and tired. So we can come over here and just put this in. Excellent. And we're going to do exactly like we did before.
Start out with a level. We got to do the key press.
Yeah, we got to make sure. Well, otherwise it would just update the level, so it's a little bit different. Here we need to pass to the level the key press.
Right.
And we're going to need the event. WX key event has a member function that allows us to get the key code. So get key code. Now this really returns to us the actual, well, the key code that was sent to us, right?
Right.
But we want it to always be. Actually, let me just go into the levels code right here. Go into level, and let me scroll down to key press, and it sends it to the player key press, just in case you don't remember how exactly this works. So the player is going to be a character. And under the key press, we assume that it's all lowercase characters, right?
Right, right.
And, well, you know, it would be okay that we always make sure, what if he holds down shift, though, or something like that? Mm-hmm. So we want to kind of set these guys all to lowercase.
Or has caps lock on.
Right, or has caps lock on. So all we need to do this is OR it with the value 32. Because, well, do you want to explain it?
You almost need to bring up Notepad.
Yes, almost bring... Well, as a quick introduction, basically, there's only 1 bit difference between a lowercase character and an uppercase character.
That's right.
And by ORing it with 32, we're forcing that one bit
to always
be
make sure
1.
it's a 1. That's
right. So, actually, I think that's pretty much a good enough explanation, unless you think...
Well, if you quickly click Start Run and just bring up... that's good in Notepad. And now you can go ahead and throw me in some binary.
Okay, so we have... a binary of that is going to be 32, right?
Right.
The first one's 1, 2, 4,
8, 16, and 32.
Yeah.
And that's, you kind of look at those like slots, really.
Right.
So basically, with this one being 1s, we can go from 1 up to 9.
Yep.
And then, of course, once we go over that for 10, we get into this guy having to go up
to
1. So anyway, see, we work our way all the way over here. This bit right here needs to be set to a 1,
right,
to make sure we get the lowercase.
Yep,
of it.
Exactly.
And by ORing it, all you're doing with ORing, I mean, you set yourself up for a situation with...
Whoa, sorry.
Just hit
if you're ORing between this one and this one, the final result is going to give you...
It's going to give you 1 and all zeros.
Right.
And then if you were to... basically, and then if you were ORing this and that, it's still going to give you this right here.
Right.
Okay.
If either one is a 1, it's going to be a 1.
Either or,
yeah.
The other one. There you go. I mean, if we were ANDing, then it would be a different thing. Because if you had this and this, and we were ANDing, then you'd end up with all zeros right there.
Right.
So
so that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No need to totally dwell on this too much.
Yeah, I just the idea of going with 32 is just getting that 1 bit basically to make sure it's a 1, which is going to return us with a lowercase level.
Exactly.
Better. So if you guys take the initiative or have the initiative to go and look at the ASCII chart, you'll see that. You got to do a little bit more than that. You're going to have to play with the numbers with a calculator or on a piece of paper or something. But you'll see like a capital D and a lowercase d. It's just that.
Just that 1 bit difference.
That's right.
So with that, all we need to do is update the viewing area, and this is exactly the same as the on timer. Just come in here, copy paste,
yeah, boy,
and
that's
we're done.
hard.
And let's see if I screwed anything up.
It's looking pretty good.
So if we run this, well, I'm already dead. Now this brings up another interesting issue, and that is every single time have you noticed that the enemies appear in exactly the same
place. That's right.
And I can kind of change this around a little bit and make it a little bit more random. Now, as we have timer events, we also have something else, which is, in my opinion, rather cool. We have the get elapsed time function. And what this allows us to do is, there's the sran function, as we talked about in a previous VTM, that allows us to randomize the random number generator, so that every time it starts, it gives us different values. So what we can do is call srand, and there's a function inside WXWidgets that says get elapsed time, which is very cool because it returns to us the amount of time elapsed since the last time the timer was reset to a value of 0. And this is updated in milliseconds. So when we come into the function, this is going to be some number somewhere. And by passing that to sran, we're guaranteed that the random number generator is going to be different.
It's not going to be the same every time.
Exactly. Right. It does look for one argument, and that is a true or false Boolean value, which basically says, after calling WX get elapsed time, do we want to reset the timer to 0?
Right.
And we're going to set it to false for now, and then we're going to create a new line and just say WX start timer, and that's going to basically set it to 0. So I could have set this to true, that would have reset the timer, but logically it makes more sense just to have another function call, in my opinion. So with that, if we go ahead and compile this and run it,
he may want to slow the monsters down. Oh, he got away. I'm impressed.
I am something else.
Running for his life. He died.
You guys
died again.
Oh, well. So there we have it.
But real quick, you can just go in there and take the milliseconds.
Yes, I can exit this out and go to the top here.
See the way we're laying this out, it's so easy to just go change update time to maybe like 150. That'll be nice and slow.
Yeah, I'll be master. So if we run this, ha ha ha.
You are so good now.
Yeah, I know. It's always good when you're the programmer. You're always master of your own game.
There we go. Simple enough. So with that, that's really going to wrap up this lesson.
Yep.
I mean, we've accomplished the two things we set out to do, and that was add the timer functionality back into our game. So,
right.
So we had our game loop going again.
You know, in fact, at this point, we pretty much had what we had in the console
originally,
game.
Except now we have pretty graphics.
Yeah, except now we have pretty graphics.
That can be easily changed.
Right. So from this point on, we're pretty much adding extra stuff that we didn't have in the previous one.
Right. So we've got the timer code back in place, so the game loop's now functional, and we've got the user input functionality back in place.
That's right.
And so with that, that's going to wrap up this lesson, and from here on out, things are going to start getting quite interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.